You keep ignoring that call. That little voice in your heart telling you something is wrong. Every day, you put off until tomorrow what your soul is crying out for today. But what if I told you this isn't just a warning anymore? That this might be your last chance to wake up? Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you're going to discover truths no one has ever told you, and what you choose next could change the course of your life forever. Have you ever taken a moment, alone, to truly look at your life as if you were standing before an invisible mirror? Not an ordinary mirror, but one that doesn't reflect your physical appearance, your morning smile, or the image you present to others. A mirror that reveals the state of your soul, the weight of your choices, the wounds you've ignored, and the calls you've rejected. This mirror never lies. It knows no excuses, no distractions. Every moment you closed your eyes to your heart, every time you chose forgetting rather than remembering, every smile that concealed an inner emptiness is etched there. And sometimes, when you pass before this mirror in the solitude of your thoughts, you feel a slight shiver, a discomfort you don't dare name, but which warns you that something in your life is crumbling, slowly, far from the gaze of others. You pray, sometimes. You murmur a few words, often mechanically, hoping it will be enough to soothe your heart. But distraction has become your silent companion, and you walk through life as if the calls of your soul were distant whispers, easily ignored. You ask for signs, you wait for miracles, and yet, when guidance knocks at your door, you look away. You continue to chase your ambitions, your dreams, illusions that never fill this inner void. And yet, somewhere deep down, your soul knows you cannot go on like this. You feel it in those moments when everything seems calm, but your heart is restless. You feel it in those nights when you wake up for no reason and your mind finds no peace. You feel it when an inexplicable emptiness overwhelms you despite all you possess, despite all you have accomplished. It is the silent call of Allah to your heart, this light trying to pierce the clouds of forgetfulness and distraction. Look around you. How many times have you felt that inner whisper, that quiet warning telling you, wake up before it's too late? How many times have you ignored that shiver in your chest, that tiny spark that wanted to guide you toward the light? Every time you look away, you build invisible walls between yourself and your soul. And these walls become heavy, oppressive, until the day the mirror reflects an image you can no longer ignore. The truth is, your soul knows the value of every moment. It knows that time waits for no one, that every breath you take is a precious gift. And yet, you keep wasting it. You keep putting off until tomorrow what you could do today. You keep closing your eyes to what truly matters, convinced that the universe or fate will give you another chance, another call. But sometimes, the call you were waiting for never comes in the form you imagined. Sometimes, it arrives in a form that turns everything upside down, shaking the very foundations of your existence. Imagine your soul as a fragile flame in the wind. Every distraction, every oversight, every thought that pulls you away from what truly matters is like a gust of wind threatening to extinguish it. But Allah, in His infinite mercy, never lets that flame go completely out. Even in your darkest moments, even when you have ignored the signs, there is always a light, a breath, a call, a reminder. This light, if you choose to see it, can revive your heart, dispel the fog, and open your eyes to what you have ignored for so long. What if you stopped, just for a moment, to listen to that silent voice? What if you stopped running away, pretending everything is fine? What if you truly looked in that mirror and accepted what it reflects back to you? without fear, without shame, without excuses. What would you see? Regret, perhaps. Mistakes, certainly. But also the possibility of rediscovering what you have lost. Peace, clarity, the light of your soul. For this mirror, however unforgiving it may be, is not there to punish you. It is there to awaken you. It is there to remind you that every moment is a chance to return, that every breath is a gift that allows you to draw closer to your Creator. And it is there to whisper to you what you have forgotten, that you are never too far from hearing the call of your soul, and that Allah never closes the door to those who turn to Him, even after years of forgetfulness. And yet, despite this truth, you continue to ignore it. You continue to walk in the shadows, putting off until tomorrow what your heart knows must be done today. The mirror awaits you. It is there, silent, still, ready to show you the truth when you finally choose to truly look at yourself. And the moment you decide to do so is approaching, perhaps faster than you think. Imagine a young man, alone in his room, the silent walls around him, the outside world vibrant with the lives he observes from afar, as if through a window he will never cross. He runs after life with a feverish energy, pursuing his ambitions, his passions, his dreams. But each race pushes him a little further from what he knows in his heart to be true. He acts, he bustles about, he fills his days with activities, distractions, and projects, as if by doing so he could forget that little voice, that soft but persistent whisper that murmurs in the silence of his nights. Wake up, before it's too late. He has recognized this voice for a long time, but he ignores it. Perhaps out of fear, perhaps out of laziness, perhaps out of habit. It is not loud, it does not demand. It simply exists, like a timid light filtering through the cracks of a crumbling house. And one evening, as the weariness of his day overwhelms him, this breath of truth becomes almost tangible. He lies down on his bed and feels his heart tighten, as if a silent reminder were trying to penetrate his clouded mind. He thinks about tomorrow, as he always has. Tomorrow, I will get up earlier to pray. Tomorrow, I will return to the right path. Tomorrow, I will correct my mistakes. But time slips through his fingers like water, and tomorrow is always a little further away. He thinks he has time, thinks he can postpone waking, thinks life can go on like this without consequence. But the truth is implacable. Every moment of negligence is a seed sown in the emptiness of his soul, and these seeds grow, silent and invisible, until they become a dark forest he will no longer have the strength to illuminate. At night, he gets up to drink a glass of water, and in the silence of the house, he perceives something he has never truly heard before. Not a sound, not an outward sign, but an inner presence. A soft, insistent alarm, as if the universe itself, or rather Allah, were whispering to him through the veil of his forgetfulness. Look, you no longer have time to procrastinate. You have put too many things off until tomorrow. And for the first time in a long time, he feels a deep shiver. It's not the fear of this world. It's not the anxiety of everyday life. It's the fear of what he has ignored for so long, his soul, and the guidance it silently implored. He remembers evenings spent distracting himself with screens, filling his hours with trivialities, chasing fleeting passions, believing they might fill the void. He remembers those moments when he prayed without concentration, when he asked for signs while ignoring those already placed before him. He feels a heaviness in his heart, a weight that wasn't there yesterday, a weight pressing down on his soul, forcing him to finally confront the truth. He has missed so many appointments with guidance. He has closed so many doors while they were still ajar. Every minute spent in oblivion, he now sees as a star fallen into the sea of his existence. Every choice to ignore his conscience, every moment he said tomorrow instead of answering the call, transforms into an echo of regret. But it's not the end yet. He knows it somewhere deep inside. The mercy of the one who guides is immense. Even in the midst of this dark forest, he himself sowed. A path can be forged, a light can still break through. Yet the temptation of tomorrow remains strong. His mind struggles, his heart wrestles between the desire to carry on as if nothing were amiss and the silent recognition that he is about to lose something no worldly pleasure can replace. His inner peace, his closeness to the Creator. And there, in that suspended moment, he understands the fragility of life and the delicacy of time. He understands that it's not just a matter of missed prayers or regrets, but a warning about how he lives each breath. Every breath is a gift. Every heartbeat, a reminder that we can return, but not forever. So he closes his eyes for a moment, and in that silence, he hears that whisper more clearly than before. Not a human voice, not a judgment, just an invitation to turn, to respond, to remember. And something within him breaks and awakens at the same time. He feels a mixture of fear and hope, regret and promise. He senses that he still has time, but that time is slipping away, sliding like sand through his fingers. And he knows that if he continues to ignore this call, the next breath might be the one that reveals to him that the tomorrow he has been waiting for does not exist. The young man remains there, motionless, between the shadow of his habits and the light that is trying to break through. Every step he has taken away from guidance, every decision he has postponed becomes tangible, almost palpable. And in this silence, in this solitude, he understands something many only learn after too much pain. Missed moments never return, and the reminder we ignore is often the one that comes back strongest when we least expect it. And yet, despite this sudden awareness, despite the shiver that runs through his soul, the choice remains suspended. Will he finally turn toward the light, or will he continue to push away what he knows to be vital? The breath of truth is there, still, patient, and the next heartbeat could decide the course of everything else. Imagine that precise moment when reality hits you with an intensity you can neither turn away nor ignore. It's not physical pain that grips your chest, nor the fear of this world that chills your blood, but a silent, heavy, invisible weight that settles in the center of your heart. It's this weight that forces you to stop, to breathe, to finally feel what your soul has been whispering for so long. Every act of negligence, every oversight, every time you closed your eyes to the light and the signs left for you, is imprinted on your being like a silent burn. Do you remember those moments when you could have prayed sincerely, when you could have turned to the one who guides, but instead chose distraction, laziness, or routine? These weren't small decisions. Every moment ignored was a breath you didn't give your soul. Every tomorrow you chose was a step further away from the truth that awaited you. And now, in this inner silence, it all returns. Each memory of neglect burns a little more until the weight becomes almost tangible, as if you could feel it pressing down on your shoulders. And if tomorrow never came, what would you do? This question isn't theoretical. Your heart already knows. The prayers left unanswered, the calls ignored, the moments when you could have reached out toward the light. All of it now calls to you in an echo you can no longer ignore. Regret isn't just an emotion. It's a cruel but necessary reminder of what you let slip away, of what you failed to protect. For time, this fragile wealth we believe to be infinite, is in reality a precious treasure you failed to safeguard. Every passing second is a chance you can never reclaim, and the heart that understands this feels a sweet, sharp pain, a pain that isn't punishment, but awakening. Imagine yourself in your solitude, sitting in the dark, the world around you continuing its course without you, feeling the weight of every choice you've postponed. These missed moments become ghosts, silent shadows that accompany you, invisible to the rest of the world, but impossible for your heart to ignore. You feel a pang of despair, yes, but also an inner awakening. The consciousness of your soul awakens with a clarity you've never known. It speaks to you without words, through an inner presence that compels you to recognize that every ignored action, every neglected moment has invisible but profound consequences. You carry this weight alone, for no one else can feel what your heart feels. Others may offer advice, smiles, encouragement, but this feeling of regret, the silent breath of what you've ignored, is uniquely yours. It is your inner mirror, a pure and raw reflection of the life you haven't lived to the fullest. And there is something terrifying about this solitude, the sudden realization that you are alone with your choices, alone with your soul, alone with the Creator who, despite everything, still awaits you with mercy. Now imagine taking a deep breath and allowing this weight to pass completely through you. Feel every regret, every oversight, every moment you turned your back on the light. Let them reach you, for it is in this contact that true transformation begins. The soul, when confronted with its shortcomings, begins to open. It begins to understand the value of every breath, every heartbeat, every moment you could return to guidance and be reborn in sincerity. The weight of regret is also a guide. It teaches you that what has been ignored is not lost forever if you choose to open your heart now. But it also warns you, time does not stand still, and the doors that are still ajar today could close tomorrow. Every second becomes a call, every breath an opportunity to turn your gaze toward the one who knows your intentions and your deepest struggles. The question is no longer whether you are capable of returning, but whether you will finally decide not to let this moment pass you by, whether you will understand that this weight you feel is not merely a burden, but an invitation to awaken your soul. And in this inner silence, when your heart is heavy with the truth, you understand something that few truly grasp. Regret is not an end, but a starting point. This is how your soul speaks to you, gently shaking you, reminding you that even after years of distractions and forgetfulness, there is still a path to clarity. But this path demands immediate attention. It demands that you listen to this weight, that you transform it into action, that you do not let this silent warning disappear in the tumult of daily life. Your life is like a sleeping city, vast and silent, where every street seems peaceful at first glance, but where every corner, every alleyway, holds a truth you refuse to see. The rooftops are still, the windows closed, and yet, inside each house, a light flickers, fragile but insistent. These lights are the subtle reminders that Allah places in your life. A breath in the heart, a shiver in the soul, a moment of clarity amidst the confusion. It is the silent warning that seeks to pull you from oblivion, to awaken you before it is too late. But you walk these streets like a distracted traveler. You keep your eyes downcast, your heart closed, your ears plugged by the noise of the world. You don't look at the lamps flickering behind the windows. You pass by these invisible signs, thinking you have all the time in the world, that these lights will always burn for you. But every step you take in this darkness is a shadow lengthening behind you, a trace that ignorance leaves in your soul. Look at these silent streets, filled with houses whose lights could illuminate you, guide you, remind you of your Creator. But if you refuse to lift your eyes, if you continue to wander in the darkness of your desires and distractions, these lights will eventually go out, and then only emptiness will remain. Emptiness is not merely the absence of light. It is the absence of presence, the absence of guidance, the absence of connection with that which is eternal. Emptiness is what a heart feels when it realizes it has ignored the signs that were always there, that it has closed the doors that Allah had left ajar for it. Now imagine the city falling into a deeper sleep, the lamps dimming one by one. The silence becomes heavier, more oppressive. Every breath you take seems to echo through these deserted streets. And with every step you take, you can almost hear the whisper of what you could have done, what you could have listened to, what you could have grasped if only you had been attentive. The soul that slept, neglected by you, slowly awakens, as if crying out to you. Look, the light was there, but you averted your gaze. And yet, in this silence and darkness, there is still a silent alarm. It doesn't scream. It doesn't force. It doesn't threaten. It is subtle, almost imperceptible, but it is persistent. It is that inner breath that manifests in the shiver of your heart, in the pain you cannot ignore, in the feeling that there is something you should do here and now. This alarm is a reminder of infinite mercy, an invitation to return, to open your eyes to the light, to feel the guidance before it fades away. But time, like in a sleeping city, does not stand still. Lamps flicker, windows close, and if you keep walking without looking up, you will miss what has always been there for you. Every moment of ignorance is a step into darkness. Every hesitation, a step further from the light. And sometimes, when you finally realize you have ignored these signs, the whole city seems dark, and the emptiness confronts you like a merciless mirror. It is an emptiness that cannot be filled with worldly possessions, distractions, or even belated regrets. It is an emptiness that accepts only one thing: a sincere and immediate return to the one who guides. Now observe the flickering lamps. They are not yet extinguished. There remains a breath, a flame, a breath of mercy ready to illuminate the path if you choose to look up. But this breath is fragile, fragile like the human heart, fragile like a candle flame in the wind. If you don't move toward it now, if you continue walking in the shadows, convincing yourself that tomorrow will be enough, you might never find it again. And the worst part isn't just getting lost. It's waking up too late, realizing that the lights you ignored were still there, but that your time to grasp them has run out. And so, in this silence, in this sleeping city, you stand alone, facing yourself, facing your soul, and facing what little light remains. Every step you take now will decide whether you continue to drift away or whether you finally choose to look up and walk toward the guidance that patiently awaits you. And you understand deep down that the next breath could be the one that changes everything, or the one that painfully reminds you that lost time waits for no one. Why do you keep ignoring that inner whisper? Yes, that quiet breath you sometimes feel in the silence, when the outside world fades away and your soul is left alone with itself. Why do you keep looking away, pretending everything is fine, when every cell of your being knows something is wrong? Ask yourself this question honestly, without excuses, without rationalizations. Is it fear? Fear of what you might discover if you truly listen to yourself? Fear of admitting you've let too many moments, too many signs, too many reminders slip by? Or is it laziness, that slow surrender to distraction, that habit of forgetting what truly matters, of filling your time with trivialities to avoid facing your soul? How many times have you pretended to be busy when your heart was crying out for direction? How many times have you thought tomorrow would suffice, when every tomorrow you've waited for has slipped through your fingers? Laziness isn't always physical. It can be spiritual. A silent stillness in action, an inattention that prevents you from answering your Creator's call. What if that whisper, that inner voice you refuse to hear, were actually your final warning? Not a loud warning, not a catastrophe falling from the sky, but a gentle reminder, a persistent invitation you've ignored for too long. If this were your last chance to return, to become aware before it's too late, would you still feel the same hesitation? Or would your heart, finally awakened, turn toward the light it has always sought? Feel it. Feel it deep in your heart, where the truth cannot be denied. Your excuses have no power over your soul when time becomes scarce. Time, so precious and fragile, is not fooled by your rationalizations. Every second ignored is a lost breath you will never regain. Your heart knows this. He knows that whisper is real. He knows the guidance was always there, even when you ignored it, even when you thought you could continue to ignore it without consequence. Think of all those times you felt a tiny spark, a shiver, a warning that you brushed aside. Perhaps it was a time when you could have woken up earlier to pray, or a time when you could have reached out to someone in need, or a moment when you could have spoken the truth, even if it was difficult. You let those moments slip away, and now they are manifesting in the silence of your soul. But that silence is not empty. It is filled with immense potential, with a light that you can still grasp if you choose to listen. What if I told you that this whisper isn't just a reminder? This is a warning, an opportunity your soul instinctively recognizes, a chance to correct the course of your life before it's swallowed by oblivion and regret. There's no time to hesitate. Every moment of spiritual procrastination is an escape from yourself, an escape from the call that could change your existence. How much longer will you allow this whisper to remain ignored? How many times will you postpone your soul's awakening under the pretext that life, work, or other distractions are more valuable? Look at yourself honestly. How many prayers left unaddressed, reminders ignored, and meditations avoided have led you to this moment? How many times have you felt your heart tighten, trying to warn you, and how many times have you responded with indifference? Now this whisper returns, more persistent than before, and this time it won't simply be ignored. He wants you to choose. He wants you to understand that the present moment is the only opportunity you have to return, to listen, to respond. Your soul knows what your mind is trying to run from. It knows that this whisper is not a coincidence, not a mere impression. It is subtle yet firm guidance, a divine call placed in your heart by the one who knows your struggles, your sorrows, your weaknesses, but also your strengths. And what was once easy to ignore is now impossible to reject. Every breath you take, every beat of your heart reminds you that time is not an enemy, but a test. And in this test, the awakening of your soul depends on your ability to hear this whisper and respond to it. So why do you continue to ignore this whisper? Why do you continue to put off until tomorrow what your heart knows must be done today? The answer lies not in the external world, but in your soul. And if you finally choose to listen, that whisper could become the light that transforms everything you thought was lost, that awakens your heart from its slumber, and that brings you closer to the guidance you have always sought. Even now, there is a door that remains ajar. A door that hasn't disappeared despite all your hesitations, despite all your detours, despite all the times you closed your heart to the calls of your soul. This door is not just an image, it is real, tangible for those who take the time to feel, to perceive, to pause. It is the symbol of the infinite mercy and silent reminder that Allah places in your life, even after years of forgetfulness. Every breath you take, every beat of your heart is an invitation to cross it, to turn toward what is true and eternal. Imagine this door, not as an ordinary opening, but as a sacred threshold. Behind it lie moments you have never fully experienced, instants of peace your soul has sought, truths you have ignored in the tumult of your routines. It is fragile, yes, but powerful. A breath, a moment, a decision is all it takes to change the course of your entire life. What seems small and insignificant today, a sincere prayer, an act of repentance, a pure intention, could be the gateway to profound transformation, an awakening of your soul that you never imagined possible. But this door will not remain ajar forever. The light that filters through its cracks is limited, and the time you have to pass through it is finite. Every moment you hesitate, every excuse you find to postpone your return to guidance, is a second that this opening diminishes. And in that retreat, what was a breath becomes an echo you may no longer hear. The world, with its endless distractions and seductive illusions, always seeks to lead you away from this passage, to lock you in the darkness of a daily life where the light becomes difficult to recognize. Look to this door in your heart. Feel its energy, its persistent presence, like a soft light that lingers despite the surrounding shadows. It awaits you, still yet insistent, whispering that the time is now. For in every moment you ignore this invitation, you miss an opportunity the universe has placed for you. A chance to purify your soul, to realign your mind, to reconnect with the one who knows your deepest struggles, your unseen wounds, and your secret desires. Every second is a possibility. Every breath is a reminder that you have not yet reached the end. Even the most weary hearts, the most lost souls, can rise and cross this threshold. There is no barrier that cannot be broken by sincere intention, no path closed to those who choose to walk courageously toward the light. What if you could hear that inner voice louder than ever, that silent alarm that has been calling you from the beginning? What if you could truly recognize it and answer its call? The choice is yours. No one else can open this door for you. The advice, the encouragement, the signs around you are merely reflections. They may show you the light, but you are the one who must walk toward it. Every step you take toward this opening, every sincere action, every pure intention, brings your soul closer to the guidance it has sought for so long. And with each step, you feel that subtle warmth, that luminous energy surrounding you, reminding you that you are never alone on this journey, that the Creator, in His infinite mercy, is always waiting for you with patience and love. But be careful. Every moment ignored is an irreversible loss. Even if repentance and mercy are vast, the door will not remain ajar forever. It is a fragile invitation, a fleeting breath of light that asks you to act before it is too late. The seconds you waste in indifference are seconds you can never get back. The soul feels these losses, and the heart grows heavy with what could have been. So feel it, this door. Feel that it is real. Feel that it is waiting for you, still and persistent, in the silence of your heart. It is both a promise and a challenge. A promise that light can always pierce the darkness, and a challenge not to ignore what is vital to your soul. And if you finally choose to enter, it is not just a step toward a new life. It is a step toward peace, clarity, and the certainty that the breath of guidance you ignored for so long was there to save you, to awaken you, to remind you that you have never been alone. And yet, despite all this, the door remains ajar. But for how much longer? Every moment of hesitation is a warning, a silent reminder that this fragile breath could close. Time is a treasure you haven't been able to hold on to. And this light, if it disappears, may never return in the same way. But if you choose now, if you finally listen to this whisper and cross this threshold, you will discover that the path of guidance and clarity was always before you, simply waiting for your heart to walk toward it. If these words have touched something deep within your heart, don't let this moment pass. Take a break, breathe, turn to the call of your soul, even for a moment, and reconnect with what truly matters. And if you want to continue this path of guidance and truth, subscribe, share this video, and keep this light in your heart, even when the world tries to distract you.